Well, another double-header day in the 2021 Indian Premier League. Punjab Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad and Kolkata Knight Riders versus Chennai Super Kings. Of course, I'm here to give you fantasy tips for both these games. But before that, where do you play fantasy cricket? Where else? On FanFight. And here's how you download it.
It's match day. Play fantasy cricket now. Get up to 2.5 crores daily and lots more. 20 times more. Win big on FanFight. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibly and at your own risk.
Right then, you know where to play your fantasy cricket now. And of course, you know where to watch all our shows on Sports Today to get your latest fantasy tips right through this edition of the Indian Premier League. And I'm back to give you fantasy tips for the two games to be played on Wednesday. So then, I'll straight away go into Punjab Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. Again, you've seen Sunrisers Hyderabad, you've seen their middle order struggle. There have been some questions around that middle order. What do Sunrisers Hyderabad do after David Warner and Johnny Bairstow? So there's of course plenty of tips that we are here to give you. Punjab Kings, Sunrisers Hyderabad, our experts have gone 5-6 for this game, and it's the team is pretty straightforward here. I'll just lay it out for you. It's Johnny Bairstow, KL Rahul, David Warner, Manish Pandey, Kane Williamson, Mayank Agarwal, Vijay Shankar, Deepak Huda, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jai Richardson, and Arshdeep Singh. So that's the team that our experts have chosen. And remember, these this is basis some fantasy tips that you keep hearing on Sports Today, right? On depending on conditions, depending on form, depending on what players can do well at any given point of time during a match, and what sort of credit points they have. So a lot of balances and a lot of thinking that goes behind making these fantasy teams. So this is the fantasy team for the Punjab Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad game. Here's a quick look at that team again before I tell you who the captain and the vice captain are. According to our experts here, is Johnny Bairstow, KL Rahul, David Warner, Manish Pandey, Kane Williamson, Mayank Agarwal, Vijay Shankar, Deepak Huda, the two all-rounders, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jai Richardson, and Arshdeep Singh, the three pacers. And Johnny Bairstow is the captain of this team. Mayank Agarwal, of course, the vice captain. Remember, he played that beautiful innings for Punjab in that game, that blistering half century, and that fine opening partnership alongside KL Rahul. So that's your fantasy team, that fantasy prediction for the first game of the day of Wednesday between Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. But hang on, there's more, right? It's a double header. So this is Kolkata Knight Riders versus Chennai Super Kings. So that's another game that you'd want to look forward to. Kolkata Knight Riders on the back of two successive defeats. The last time they played, they lost pretty badly to Royal Challengers Bangalore, right? And Chennai Super Kings, of course, riding high on the back of successive victories, back-to-back victories for Chennai Super Kings. The three-time champions are beginning to look pretty good. MS Dhoni, the captain, was brilliant with his tactical moves the other night against Rajasthan Royals. So that is another game to look forward to. MS Dhoni versus Owen Morgan. That's going to be fascinating. Both of them, of course, ODI World Cup winning skippers. So what does this team look like? Kolkata Knight Riders versus Chennai Super Kings. Here's a quick look. Dinesh Karthik, Shubman Gill, Nitish Rana, Ambati Raidu, Suresh Raina, Andre Russell, Moin Ali, Sam Curran, Ravindra Jadeja, Deepak Chahar, Varun Chakravarti. So as you see, Moin Ali is the captain and Shubman Gill is the vice captain in this team. So I'll quickly recap that team for you, the fantasy team for the Kolkata Knight Riders versus Chennai Super Kings game. Is Dinesh Karthik, the wicketkeeper, Shubman Gill, Nitish Rana, Ambati Raidu, Suresh Raina, Andre Russell, Moin Ali, the captain, Sam Curran, Ravindra Jadeja, Deepak Chahar, Varun Chakravarti, Shubman Gill, the vice captain. Shubman Gill, of course, got off to an explosive start against RCB before he got out. And Varun Chakravarti's first over was absolutely brilliant, right? Where he removed Virat Kohli and Rajat Patidar before, for some inexplicable reason, Owen Morgan took him off the attack after just that one over. And even our experts on Sports Today questioned that move, that captaincy move from Owen Morgan in that game against Royal Challengers Bangalore. So you expect Varun Chakravarti to do well and get a fair run if he gets a couple of wickets early on, right? So he's a wicket-taking bowler. He's done that a fair few times for Kolkata Knight Riders already in his short career for the two-time IPL champion. Well, that's that. This is that's the fantasy tips from both the games. You've seen fantasy prediction from our experts for the Punjab Hyderabad game as well as the Kolkata Chennai game. So you know what which players to look at and who your core players should be. And of course, it is important to listen to the captains at the toss, listen to the pitch report, and of course, note the team changes that the captains announce after the toss, and of course, who wins the toss and who does what in any condition on pitches. That's of course very important to make the final change in your fantasy lineups. Thank you so much for watching Sports Today. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And for those of you who haven't, please do. Please do subscribe to the channel and please keep supporting this platform. This is all about sports. There's plenty about cricket and about a lot of other sports that we keep bringing to you. And of course, throughout the Indian Premier League, there'll be a lot of fantasy tips, fantasy predictions, match summaries, pre-match and post-match analysis, exclusive interviews, and a lot of stats and numbers that we keep churning out for you. Thank you so much. And of course, you know where to play fantasy cricket. You have to download the FanFight app and you know how to do it now. So please go ahead and do it. Thank you.